What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Royal Ramble. I'm your host, as always, John Covey Cole. Steve New, Rich Quick, and Derek Jones in the studio today. Guys, how you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, fair to middling. Whatever.
I'm glad that Brian moved to Florida, because if he was here, we wouldn't have room for all of us, man.
Well, we barely have room for his big head when he calls in on Skype.
Yeah, I'm just glad you moved the Resnatron up there out of the way. So.
Oh, you didn't like him being beside of you there?
No, I felt I was going to get tangled up in the wires.
You felt his presence.
Yeah, he's right there with me.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, until he calls in, we're just going to bury the hell out of him. So,
before we bury Brian, where the hell have you been, Derek?
Look. Sometimes the real world kicks you in the teeth.
That's true.
I took a couple weeks off at your own request.
Well, I mean, I figured...
Because I wasn't throwing any request at you, but you were still singing, so it was at your request that I leave, so I left. And then,
you should have heard me on my news show last week, Rambling. I was singing all night.
You know, it's bad. The worst part about it...
like 3 viewers, but...
I was one of them. I was watching.
Okay, cool.
And it was a good show, and I suffered through the singing because it was a good show. It was entertaining. I liked it.
I appreciate that, man. I'm not sure where Brian's at, guys. He was supposed to meet us here, but...
Well, like Derek said, I mean, sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
Maybe got lost in traffic.
Yeah.
It could be in Florida. Anything crazy.
You get in Baron Corbin's closet.
That's exactly right. I said last week that you've become the thing that you hate the most, inevitably, and I have become Baron Corbin's regional manager of the Hot Topic.
Yeah.
So,
Steve, seeing as that, could you give him a few extra shifts, especially like around WrestleMania time?
Yeah, that Sunday, April the 7th of WrestleMania, I'm going to book him a double shift. I'm going to make him close the Hot Topic that night.
Real quick, Ben Cliff here on Facebook says, "Miss you, Derek Jones. Had to deal with Steve New not knowing who Nigel McGuinness is."
Steve, how you not know who Nigel McGuinness is?
We already went through this.
We went through this last week.
Hey, it took up too much time last week.
Did you actually go back and watch?
I have not. I've watched some YouTube videos, but I did not have time to watch the full documentary.
Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
So you haven't seen anything of like Desmond Wolfe and Kurt Angle in TNA, because he was Desmond Wolfe in TNA, and that's some of his best matches is with Kurt Angle. It was unreal.
You were going to be publicly shamed and flogged through the streets until you watch this documentary.
Bring out your dead. That ring a bell, Ben? Bring out your dead.
Actually, we're going to do the show a little different this week, guys. I'm feeling kind of crazy. Going to switch it up a little bit.
Oh, you're going to be interesting?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well.
But
a boy can dream.
Did you watch wrestling this week?
I did.
Changed it on a dime, just like that. New show, new format. John knows wrestling.
I didn't say I know anything. I just said watch.
John watched wrestling.
That's totally different thing.
2 totally different things.
But we're actually going to start with our topic of the week to start the show this week, instead of doing it at the end like we usually do. Topic this week, for those of you guys just now tuning in, if the NWO had only 5 members, who should they have been? And this was actually easier than I thought it was going to be for me.
This could be a very quick segment.
Well, that's why we're going to take our time with it. I'm guessing that all 4 of us, all 3 of us have at least 3 of the same guys.
More than likely.
You guys got Hulk Hogan? No?
Unfortunately, I do. Because I feel like had they not had Hogan wrestling, and I hate Hogan, I do. Sure. I'm not a fan. But that moment in wrestling spun everything to what it is today.
Okay, Scott Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, you got Scott Hall?
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
We'll take a little survey. I watched Uncensored from Charleston last night. Remember that show? Did you go to that show?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, there was Sold Out.
Yeah,
Sold Out.
Yeah. Sold Out in 99. I was at that show.
Old Norman Smiley and Chavo Guerrero.
Right.
And Kevin Nash. That's the 3 I was thinking that everybody would probably have the same of. So, that being said, Steve, you don't have Hulk Hogan on your list. Can you give me a third, and then we'll discuss the final 2 there?
You guys are going to hate me for this. X-Pac.
No.
6.
Why would I hate you? I'm wearing a bandana in his honor.
I'd put 6 in there as my third. And so I would start. My thinking is you've got 3/5 of the clique at that point. So 6 is my number 3 in the NWO.
I can't argue with that at all. And I'll actually keep it moving, saying that 6 is my fourth. That's a great one to have in the group for the simple fact you got Hollywood Hogan. That's the main event guy, like you mentioned, Derek. Like him or hate him, he is revolutionary to wrestling. And then you got Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders. They were WWF guys. I don't care if they had the lawsuit and won or whatever. That was WWF guys, and they were saying, "Hey, we got their guys." So that was brilliant the way they did that. But that's my number 4. Rich Quick, who's your number 4?
It was 6 as well, actually.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of covers. My philosophy in groups or factions is, you need the main guy, you need a tag team, and I feel you always kind of need a little guy.
Sure.
A light heavyweight, a cruiserweight.
Got all the bases covered there.
Yeah.
Derek, are you on this bandwagon with us?
I'm not.
Of course
not.
not.
Even.
Marty Scroll or Nigel McGuinness or something?
Look, I could pull some very outlandish names if you want me to.
LWO.
Look,
Get El Dandy.
I could get crazy if you want me to, but
Super crazy?
I'm not going to. So when the NWO started, it was the Outsiders. It was the guys that come from the other company. So, and when I asked you earlier on, does it have to be guys strictly in the NWO or just from that time frame? And you said I could go on that time frame.
Man. Yeah.
So the two guys that I'm picking.
Hold on, you can go ahead and throw them both out?
I'm not throwing them both.
Okay.
Just the one first. So the guys that I'm picking, one of them could have came with them at the time, and it would have been Shawn Michaels.
That would have been huge.
So I think that would have been a big chip.
But think about that though. That's a great pick. But Shawn Michaels, never mind. Hulk Hogan's not in your NWO, so Shawn Michaels is your main event.
No, Hogan's in my NWO. Hogan's in my NWO.
Shawn Michaels, Hall and Nash.
Yeah.
How do you think Hogan and Shawn Michaels would have coexisted?
But see, that's the great thing about a faction. Eventually, somebody flips out and spins.
Sure.
So that's where my Savage Hogan comes into play, because eventually Savage turns and they have the feud with Hogan. Instead, it would be Michaels and Hogan for the belt down the road. But coming in, seeing Hall, Nash, and HBK
that would have been
from
huge.
up north, and it may have kept WCW alive an extra 10, 15 years. Yeah. They could be still going today because of it.
That's a good pick. Mm-hmm. You got my picks. You got me feeling some kind of way about my picks. Now you're bringing the Heartbreak Kid over.
Some kind of way.
So we got 4 down, and we still haven't heard from Brian. Show must go on there, right?
That's right.
Sure.
So let's see. I got Hollywood Hogan. That's my main eventer. I got Hall and Nash. That's my tag team. I got Sean Waltman, X-Pac 6, whatever you want to call him, the Kid, to cover my cruiserweight division.
Right.
And I was going to pick Ted DiBiase, and I'll tell you why I didn't pick him before I tell you who I picked. I wanted to have a mouthpiece or a authority figure there, but I didn't necessarily want it to be a WWF guy, because in every good every good story, you have a mole. You have somebody on the inside. Mm-hmm. I just don't see how it could not be Eric Bischoff, because he was a WCW guy, and it was his master plan all along. I almost picked the Giant, but then I was like, no, you don't really need the Giant, because you got Kevin Nash. There's your Giant right there. Anyway, I may be taking your guys. If I am, I'm sorry. But that's my 5. Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, 6, and Eric Bischoff.
All right. I'll do mine.
I'm back.
All right. I've got Hall and Nash, the Outsiders. You've got 6. My 4th, and I believe the guy whose career benefited the most from the NWO was Big Papa Pump, Scotty Steiner. I think Big Papa Pump broke out of the Steiner mold. He broke out of the University of Michigan wrestling gear. It was the gold headdress.
Did I just cut you off and not even give you your 4?
Roids.
This is your 4.
I know. I'm saving mine for the last.
Okay.
Because I got a total swerve.
Okay, cool.
For you guys as my number
Vince
5.
McMahon.
If that would have extended WCW another 10 or 15 years, I'd put McMahon in there as the
Scott Steiner's a great pick this
year. I mean, he's your beef. You got a tag team, you got a cruiserweight, and I mean, man, he's your kind of super heavyweight, roided up.
Did you get to go see him in Bluefield last year when he was there with Big Time Wrestling?
I did get to see him in Bluefield.
In that place you went to?
Yeah, and I've told you the story. I'm not going to repeat it. on the air, but I was sponsoring a wrestling promotion that shall remain nameless, if you will. And the promoter was about to get stretched by Big Papa Pump in Bluefield because he thought the money had already been healed. And I said, brother, I'm going back to bed. That's a you problem, not a me problem dude. So, all right. I'm a big Scotty Steiner fan anyway. Have
you been to his Shoney's? I've heard about
I have not.
Heard he's got a Shoney's in Akbar, Georgia, maybe?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
I think Conrad and Bruce Pritchard talk about it all the time on their something.
So speaking of Scott Steiner and Conrad, not to play off of it too much, but when we were at StarCast and All In, so the entire weekend of StarCast, it was so much fun because, Steiner and Conrad had been beefing on their show, little play back and forth. So the whole weekend, if you've seen Conrad, about 30 feet behind him, you saw Steiner walking with either a pipe or a chair. Conrad, I'm going to kick your ass. The whole weekend they played with each other. It was great. I loved it.
Working all weekend.
All weekend long. They never stopped.
Well, look who came to the party.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, man, it's all right.
Late.
We've actually started with the topic this week, Brian. We're already I've done named my 5. Everybody else has their 4. So let's go ahead and get your 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll save the 5th there for
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah.
I can dig it, oh yeah.
Interesting.
What was that you said, Derek? Look at Elizabeth with lust.
Looking Elizabeth lust in his eyes. Dig it!
Out there hot dogging. Brian,
you
where
so
the hell you
potent
been,
hot
man?
dogging?
Be here ready to roll. Did you get caught in traffic, honey?
I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
it happens.
Okay, Resner, explain to us why Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
It was a late addition to the NWO.
Yeah, because when I think of the young upstarts coming to
guys had to do stuff.
explain why Macho Man.
Because he was one of my favorite members of the NWO. I feel like the NWO wouldn't be the same without Macho Man. I thought about this a lot today, and I can't let go of the Macho Man in the NWO. And I feel like in a lot of ways that Kevin Nash, even though Kevin Nash and Scott Hall really didn't have as big of a feud as the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were kind of like the newer Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. It was kind of like, you know what I mean, like almost like the mirror of time there.
I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for Randy Savage, DDP wouldn't have became what he became.
That's right.
That's true.
I agree.
Yeah, he surely did make Page.
Yeah.
I mean, Randy Savage could wrestle a broomstick, guys. Honest to goodness, he could wrestle a broomstick and put him over. He just had natural, God-given talent. He really
I remember reading a while back that he was a phenomenal baseball player, and he could have played baseball.
Pro baseball player, bat left-handed, right-handed, could pitch. I mean, he could do it all. And he and Angelo Poffo, his dad, just decided to start a wrestling promotion. Make Randy the heavyweight champion, having supposedly lost a match to his brother in Nova Scotia, and the rest is history. Ran as Outlaws for 4 or 5 years, and then he goes to Memphis. Vince sees him on tapes that were designed to go on All American Wrestling on USA Network at 12 noon on Sundays, and that's what Vince did. Vince told all the other promoters, "Hey, send me your tapes. I want to see your guys. We're going to show wrestling from all over the country." All he did was see who was the best guys in each territory.
Scouting, was he?
And scoop. Yeah, it was scoop. Yeah, he was scouting.
Get one of those, one of them.
Yeah, he did not want Jerry Lawler in 1985, but he really wanted Macho Man Randy Savage.
Let's look at Ben Cliff for a second.
This bottom one here?
No, the
Right here?
that right there.
All right, what's Ben got to say? Hogan, Nash, Hall, Rick Rude, and Ted DiBiase.
What I'd like to have right now is all of you fat, overweight, British sweat hogs to sit down. Just teasing, Ben, like you.
So, Rich, are you ready for your number 5?
Yeah, actually. I mean, you took it because mine was and I did have the same thought Derek did, except if it could have been like an addendum to if this or that, but I would have said like I said, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, 6, but I would happily replace Hulk Hogan with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was a great.
I would, and then as the 5th member, Eric Bischoff. As
I thought we were just doing wrestlers. I didn't know that we had to get rid of Bischoff if we didn't pick Bischoff.
See, I kind of had that same thought. I thought Bischoff was just kind of the already there.
I put these topics out very vaguely on purpose, gentlemen. Take it how you wish.
Yeah.
All right, so for I guess in mine and Brian's world, Bischoff is always going to be there no matter what.
Yeah,
can't do it. Only got 5. Only got 5. Sorry, Bischoff's got to go. He got to go.
All right, well, Bischoff's gone then.
Throw him in the garbage.
Bischoff's gone. Another one off the top of my head.
No, Bischoff's good for you.
You're good.
Good for me. All right, good.
Just not for us that already have 5+ Bischoff.
Gotcha.
They wanted 5+ Bischoff. We'll go ahead and put. Are you gonna put Virgil in there too, just because it's Virgil?
Well, no.
What about
Virgil?
DiBiase?
I thought Virgil was a given.
There it is.
No,
right there.
Virgil's only a given if you put DiBiase in there.
Well, I thought DiBiase was a given. What's going on here?
All right, Derek. Who is your number 5? Tell Brian who your 4 are before you tell him your.
All right, so I obviously I picked Hall and Nash to come in first, Hogan, but I wanted Hall and Nash to come over with HBK, another guy from up north. And HBK plays that savage spot, so eventually that's the feud that breaks out from the NWO is HBK versus Hogan. But I do agree that you got to have a cruiserweight in there. But in the NWO at the time, it was so grainy and so different. You had to have somebody that could talk a little bit, that could run their mouth, and everybody likes a little guy that runs their mouth. I mean, or at least I do, because I am one. But I would put Y2J as my 5th guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He is the goat.
I didn't pick 6 because
right?
of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I said I didn't pick 6 because I hate X-Pac. So.
yeah, I'm not a big fan either, so I had to go with a different cruiserweight.
I mean, it's a personal thing. I just don't like that.
Sure.
Here's an interesting one on Facebook. Virgil Broyles says Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Eddie Guerrero, and Eric Bischoff.
Eddie's a good choice.
Eddie would have been great.
Yeah. Well, he was already taken by the LWO.
Right.
All right, here's my 5th. See what you guys think about it. Instead of Hulk Hogan, I think it would have meant more if you turned Sting. If you do the whole angle and you flip Sting, because to that point, Sting had never been a heel.
Sure.
And Sting had been Mr. WCW. From he was day one WCW, which I think gives him a little more credibility than Hogan as far as who betrays the company the most.
Sure.
Is it the guy that you paid a big bunch of money that's been battling Kevin Sullivan's Legion of Doom or Dungeon of Doom or whatever it was called, that had just come from the WWF a couple years earlier? Or is it really the guy that's been your, dare I say it, Brian, franchise of the NWA and WCW? I think you put Sting in that angle, you turn him heel. I don't know that it would have been as heartbreaking as Hulk Hogan, but I also, the flip side of that is I think Hulk Hogan you could have built up to be the only guy who was good enough, pure enough, trained, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, that would have been good enough to counteract the NWO's badness.
So what you're telling me is you wanted another 5 years at least of Hulkamania? You thought it had another 5 years left in the tank?
Easy.
No, it was so stale at the time.
No, it was cutting booze.
Because wrestling was taking a turn away from the cartoon era into reality, and Hogan was too cartoony.
I will say this.
Really? When was Typhoon and all those guys in that Dungeon of Doom foolishness? It was within a year. Am I right, Brian? That Dungeon of Doom foolishness was no more than a year before Hogan's heel turn. Yeah. So I don't think it was that far removed from the cartoonish era.
No, it's outside the door. Now, fellas, correct me if I'm wrong, Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the original plan supposed to be for Sting?
I think so.
Originally it was.
That was the backup plan,
Yeah.
I believe.
No, that was the original plan. Hogan was the backup plan.
Yeah.
Sting chose not to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My
That's
friend.
not true. No, that's not. 3 weeks goes into this in full detail that Hogan was what they wanted, but they weren't sure if Hogan was going to go for it or not. So they had Sting as a backup.
Okay, so I've heard the interview from Bischoff before 83 weeks, and he's told it the exact same way I just said it. Sting has told it the exact same way I just said it. Hogan has told it the exact same way.
All right, and my friend Don Glasscock
There's an episode
on the watch party. All right, well, while we're going through the rest of the list of the crappy week that was professional wrestling this week, why don't somebody Google that for us?
There you go.
Well, here's one thing I was thinking of. If that would have happened, would we been talking about the Stinger Splash heard around the world instead of the leg drop heard around the world?
I think you would have heard about the Stinger Splash. You book Sting and Luger versus the Outsiders, and Sting turns his back on Luger that night with the Stinger Splash out of the middle of nowhere. Or maybe even you tease it and you have him come out in different paint, and you're like, whoa, Sting's out in different paint tonight. But you don't.
Whose side is he on?
Brain.
What are you talking about?
But if he's already in the match and they start the match and he can't get involved at all.
No, he's on the outside, and Luger's on the inside taking the beating from Hall or Nash, either one. Probably Hall. Nash is going to tear a quad.
Maybe,
But if they're beating on Luger and Sting doesn't come in to save at any point in time, you already start to suspect. Does it give it enough emotion and pop when it happens?
Here you go. Do it this way then. You had Luger get took out at the beginning of the match, right? Have Sting get took out at the beginning of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back out and, oh my God, he wasn't really hurt to begin with.
Well, however you want to do it, I just think. I mean that's me.
That would have been very interesting. I don't know what would be more interesting.
Here's a question you have to ask yourself.
Shawn Michaels, because that's crazy. I mean, that's mind-boggling to think of.
Yeah, I mean,
what would have been?
Well, and if Bischoff had been smart, he would have scooped up and I think
the entire clique.
The entire clique.
Yeah.
Bischoff gets the clique and gets Triple H, which
even terrorizing.
He gets the entire clique and Triple H, which is your workhorse.
Sure.
Young guy, hungry workhorse.
Sober.
So
I think it's what you're
looking for.
Yeah.
All right.
And originally that was going to be my 4+ Hogan, but I wanted a little guy in there,
Yeah.
so I couldn't bring Triple H along with him.
Yeah.
Real quick before Brian throws his Mike Britt says, I'm a huge Sting fan, but nothing was bigger than Hogan.
Many people say that was the event of wrestling history.
I don't think Sting could have pulled it off. Maybe that night it would have been a huge shocker. But as far as pulling off the Hollywood Hogan character, it would be really hard. I mean, hell, it was hard to get people to hate Hogan.
No,
at that
you
time.
don't
Can
have
you
him do.
imagine
You
how
don't
bad
have
and
him
how
try to
hard
do
it
Hollywood
was
Hogan. You have him do
Sting?
the Crow, and he doesn't know anybody any explanations. You can still have him dropping out of the rafters, and you have people announcer Sting. Why'd you do it? I'm not answering you. I'm the Crow.
Yeah, you could have did very similar to what they did.
Yeah, very similar to what they did. Only he's
Wow.
there.
See, I was
interfering in
thinking that
matches.
with the way you were going to do it, I was thinking we were going to lose the Crow Sting, which I was actually down with. But now you're saying we got to keep the Crow too.
I'm just saying it's
I'm
one
really
way.
not into this.
Well, you don't. Wait.
So if you
Don't make him Hollywood Hogan either.
Right, but if you don't keep the Crow Sting, you have to lose the face paint because the bright, bubbly colors don't mix with the
Right.
black and white NWO.
Absolutely, it does not.
Well, that's what I was picturing. I was picturing no face paint, Steve Borden turning on the
Hey,
fan.
Ben Cliff
being
has-
Hollywood
I'm sorry,
Steve
Brian.
Borden.
Risner's put me to sleep. Wake me up.
Ben Cliff's got you back over there, Brian. He says, nah, Hogan was the perfect choice. Sting blows. You mad at Sting too, Ben, because he took out Rick Rude? Y'all need to leave Sting the hell alone.
Brian, I'm gonna get you a Sting autograph this weekend, buddy.
You are?
Yeah,
You did what?
just for you. I'm going Lexington Toy Comic Convention this weekend. Sting's gonna be there. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna get Brian an autograph, maybe.
What?
Just because he doesn't like Sting and he'll give it back, so I can keep it. But
Wait a minute.
Give me a pen.
How much did just?
He just made the list.
You know what happens when you bring Brian back and I have a picture of Steve Borden and you don't bring me one?
I got you
know what happened?
I got you an Uncle Eric.
Look, I'll trade you a Bischoff for a Steve.
All right.
If it's not on the Surfers thing, then I probably won't keep it.
Real quick, how much did Sting want for an appearance?
$25,000.
$25,000.
Yep.
But
for 2
$20,000
hours.
without his paint.
Right.
Brian, did you turn your 5 out
Not
yet?
worth
Face
it.
paint's expensive.
I know.
He did.
Now I still got a 5th one in the bank.
Who you got?
All right, so now of course I said Hogan, Savage, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, 5th man, Prince Iakea.
What the hell?
No, I'm just kidding. Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner is
The
my
artist
5th
formerly
guy.
known as Prince Ikea.
I thought you done lost your mind, buddy.
So
Yeah.
So Scotty Steiner is that?
Scott Steiner, because I feel like the NWO made Scott Steiner the guy he was, and I feel like Scott Steiner, a piece of Scott Steiner was the NWO. I think they both needed each other. Scott needed the NWO needed Scott.
Kind of like in
Scott
WWE,
Steiner.
you guys might not agree with me, but kind of like how the New Age Outlaws needed DX.
DX.
Yeah, the
actually
New Age
needed
Outlaws
New Age
definitely
Outlaws.
At that time, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did, yeah.
Without DX, Badass Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg would have been forgotten a long time ago.
Spend
They're
your
still
mind.
riding that horse.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you think Road Dogg would be head of creative if he would have just
No.
I don't
been
know
the
if he still
roadie?
is. Is he still, ever since they started
Yeah.
bringing all these people
Yeah.
up, is he still doing it?
Honestly, I cannot believe he's still doing it. I don't understand why he's doing it, why they would even put him in that position. I mean, he's obviously terrible at
Because
it.
he started,
And then-
when he started, he was a roadie, and he has worked his way up the ranks. Was a roadie, and then he was an all-air talent, and now he's in charge. That's how it works, man. You
Well, he was
work your
also
way
an
up.
Armstrong.
That's true. He was an Armstrong first.
He's the Armstrong that broke the Armstrong curse.
Yep.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, come back and talk about our pros and cons of the week. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back, and let's get to some pros and cons. We got a lot of. What did I do? I broke something. Hold on a second. Tell them a story, Eric.
What?
Tell them a story.
Tell 'em a
I broke
story.
something. I gotta fix it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you're fine.
Okay, it's fixed.
You're fine.
Cool story, Brian.
Gosh.
You wonder why I put you on the end?
I mean, you said tell a story. I could have. I mean, about what?
We're on a wrestling show, so let's see. Maybe
So, cool story about a guy that wrestles out of Fest Wrestling. His name is Saeed Al Sabah. Check him out. How do you like
did
that?
you give you that on you when you
Sa-
said that?
A little bit.
Can you spell that for these fine folks?
If you let me write it down, I can, but it's hard to even say some days.
Right.
Saeed Al Sabah. Look him up on Facebook.
Okay.
They will immediately be placed on a no-fly list. So, all right.
Let's get to our pros and cons, guys. Derek, since you've been on a hiatus, I'm gonna have you start this week. I'll let you pick pros or cons. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with cons,
Okay.
because there's a lot of them this
There
week.
is. It was actually
So-
very hard for me to pick a pro this week.
Well, the reason that it's hard for you to pick a pro this week is because you only watch WWE TV.
You all right over, Brian? You
So
good?
what?
I said you all right?
Doing good.
That sound, whatever that was really loud. But anyway, go ahead.
All right,
I
so I
apologize.
almost want to say Monday Night Raw is my
As a
con.
whole,
I almost want to say that it's dangerously close. So what I did was I picked up just a segment of Monday Night Raw, and my con is No Way Jose, looking like the Neon Ninja facade for some reason. I mean, just coming out of nowhere with some green braids or dreads or something, looking
Why hasn't he
ridiculous.
been fired yet?
Oh my goodness. It's
Because they have to have a way
Awful.
to humiliate the developmental guys because Adam Rose is no longer there. So they got to have a way to humiliate them on TV to make sure that they're going to be able to survive.
He's terrible, man. It's hard to stomach.
Yeah, it's bad.
Was that your con, Brian, or do you have something else in mind?
You want to hear my con?
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
My con has 2 words: Baron Corbin. And it's not anything that he did. It's the fact that I can't remember which one of you, but one of you was right, and Baron Corbin is now going to face Kurt Angle in his final match, and that makes me want to vomit. It's like you don't even care that Kurt Angle, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, is retiring. It's like, that John Cena thing wrote itself. You could do so
Before we
many
went
different
on the
things.
air, this is the way I booked it. Angle's out there. He's getting ready to make the announcement. Mr. McMahon comes out there and, says, I'm going to make the announcement for you, Angle. You're wrestling Baron Corbin. Boo. And Corbin comes out looking like yours truly, and like he just got off a Hot Topic, and comes out there ready for his WrestleMania moment, and then Cena comes out, puts McMahon in his place, does this to Corbin and shakes Kurt Angle's hand and says, I'm the only guy who's fit to wrestle this man. 16-time world champion.
Jimmy Bays says that he thinks they're going to change it to John Cena.
I have a part of me that I believe that they're going to change it as well, but I don't think they're going to change it because they had that plan all along. I think they actually thought that Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle was going to be good enough. And that really should be the slogan of this year's WrestleMania. Good enough.
Kind of like those OK commercials with the doctor.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I've got a prediction, and I'm telling you. Okay. I hope that I'm standing there right in the middle of it. I'm taking cold weather gear. I'm taking snivel gear, as we used to say it in the Army. I hope it snows butthole deep. I remember in the middle of MetLife Stadium on April the 7th.
I remember last year, we talked about this briefly. I don't know if it was on air or not, but I remember talking to you about it. You was like, it's kind of cold that time of year.
It is. I have been in New York and New Jersey in early April. I hope it snows, for this very reason, Brian, that you're talking about. I hope it snows 3 feet on MetLife Stadium. On Sunday, April the 7th. That will serve Vince McMahon well enough.
Real quick, Brian, on your con, what really upset me about it wasn't so much of the fact that it was Baron Corbin. Storyline-wise, okay, it can make sense. But what kills me about it is they had Kurt Angle announce that this is his choice. This is who he's choosing to be his last match. You got to give him more credit than that. Like you said, at least have the old man come out and say, this is who you're wrestling.
Yeah, and it's bad. And I hope to God that this was not their plan the entire time.
It was.
But the thing is that you don't know. They're so bad recently that it's because why would anybody be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to piss everybody off by choosing Baron Corbin. That does nothing for Baron Corbin. I agree. I think they thought Baron Corbin and Angle would be good enough, and then they were. People don't like this?
WWE is confused about what kind of heat Baron Corbin gets. He's getting heat, but it's the wrong kind. It's the wrong heat.
Yeah. But think about the channel heat.
Yeah.
Think about what you're saying, though. This is the direction they've been going for a while now. This is the type of decisions they've been making. It's nothing they're doing makes sense right now.
If you guys remember, we had this conversation then in about, what was it, Derek, about December, when Raw was so bad you couldn't stomach it.
Yes.
Just before the Royal Rumble, Raw was so bad that you couldn't even stomach it on Fast Forward on TiVo. And, John, you made this point. Here we are. We're 3 weeks out of WrestleMania. Road to WrestleMania. People should be absolutely glued to their sets right now. People should be excited. And, I talk to a lot of wrestling fans, not just you guys, and nobody I know is hyped. Take it from the curtain jerk match all the way to the main event, and I don't get anybody excited about this year's WrestleMania.
I'm going to put Rich Quick over here. Before the show, we were talking, and I kind of felt the same way, but he said after he watched Raw this week, he had to watch some more wrestling because it was not sufficient. It's WrestleMania season. You're jacked. You're excited. Oh, well, that's you're gonna give me? I gotta find something else.
It's because there's no build to any of the matches right now.
No.
Not even your main
Get on the
event.
network and dust off an old Clash of the Champions.
Or maybe a Nigel McGuinness documentary, Steve. Right, right, Ben?
If one's so inclined.
Stop pandering to Ben Cliff.
You got
It's
one
all
fan in the
fun.
UK riding him like a goat, John.
Whatever it takes, gentlemen, whatever it takes. I'm going to keep it moving, guys,
right.
because we can stay there all night if we wanted to. My con of the week is probably not going to be very popular, but my con of the week is the Kofi Kingston situation.
That's
For
understandable.
one, I think it could have been done better. All these gauntlet matches are stupid. You're wasting half of your show on a gauntlet match to put one guy over. You don't need to do that. And secondly, it's a little different for me. Back when Daniel Bryan was preaching that everybody says he's a B-plus guy, I knew for a fact that he was not a B-plus guy. I had seen him on the come-up in Ring of Honor, and believe it or not, Derek.
Who was he wrestling in Ring of Honor?
I don't know that I believe this.
Nigel McGuinness. But anyway,
He watched the
That's
documentary.
but anyway,
He watched the documentary. Obviously.
I actually haven't, but yeah, I need to. I'm sorry. You're telling me that your best option for your prime championship, because SmackDown's going to Fox. Brock Lesnar has made the title on Raw mean jack squat, in my opinion.
Yep.
And you're telling me your prime championship, 3 weeks out from Mania, you're still teeter-tottering whether you're going to give Kofi Kingston a shot or not, and Kofi Kingston's your best choice? I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I'm not a Kofi Kingston fan, and it has nothing to do with him being a black guy. I know people were talking about that, but it has nothing to do with that. I'm just not a fan of it.
Race was sort of bubbling under when he was.
Yeah, it's not just you though, but it's
And they're
it's all over
continuing
social media
to
and
go that
stuff.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's not what it is. It's just Kofi Kingston is not that entertaining to me, baby.
You believe that he truly is the B-plus player?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's a mid-carder
Yeah.
at best. I mean, there's a reason you've been where you're at for 11 years.
Can I do my con?
Please do.
Brock Lesnar.
You mean the guy that shows up for a payday and does nothing?
That's a totally different subject. I'm talking about the guy who's your main event at WrestleMania.
Oh, we got a caller coming in. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
We'll put him on.
Hey, what's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
Jordan from Chattanooga, Tennessee. John, you've actually met me before.
Are you the gentleman I met at the face-to-face wrestling show?
Yes, sir.
Cool, man. Appreciate you tuning in. What's on your mind, bro?
Oh, nothing. Just been watching a lot of old Tennessee wrestling and stuff. I seen what you put about the, if I had to pick 5 members of the New World Order, I'd say myself times 5.
You going to put yourself in the NWO 5 times?
Shameless self-promotion.
That's my pro for the week. We'll get there in a moment.
Hey, I can't argue with that, man. That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
He has been watching like a lot of Memphis wrestling, hasn't he?
All right, brother. We're going to keep the show moving, man. Appreciate you calling in, brother.
Don't wait.
I know.
All
right. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, Lesnar. It is not in his nature to cower. You know, I didn't like the whole angle this week of Lesnar cowering. I mean, Rollins comes out with a chair and beats up Drew McIntyre,
Beats the living hell out of him.
which I'm fine with.
But then he's okay to come out and wrestle again in the main event. I digress.
I'm
go
okay
ahead.
with that, but Lesnar supposedly cowers from him. It's not Lesnar's nature. I don't care if he is standing there with a chair. Lesnar is going to spear him and then F5 him, 15 times.
Sure.
So just the way they played that whole angle, and I appreciated Graves trying to say, "Oh, he only fights for prize money." Okay, Heyman, they're not paying you for this. That's the only angle that they've got with him. But it's not Lesnar's nature. And gosh, so many people could have written that angle of a build-up between him
Maybe we'll
and
get Road Dogg
Rollins.
over on Raw. Maybe he can do a little better.
Oh my goodness, it was just
Rich Quick, do you agree or do you have a different con in mind, my friend?
Oh, I have a very different con. My con goes back to the Kurt Angle situation, but it is not the Baron Corbin. Last week, I half-jokingly said I was going to start a segment on whose career Vince killed this week. Well, in the words of Jim Cornette, well, look who won the pony. Because after he announces Baron Corbin, boos, okay, very underwhelming, then he gets to wrestle Chad Gable. And there was a "This is awesome" chant before they even touched. This was the moment. This was the moment to get Chad Gable over and pass the Olympic torch, so to speak. Ooh, I like that. Do you like that? Olympic torch.
It also gives you an out of Chad Gable riding Bobby Roode's coattails, and Bobby Roode's back to a singles competitor.
Yeah. And
sorry, didn't
Well,
know.
he had his old attire on, if you guys
He had
noticed
his
that.
old-
Yeah. So what do? They have a pro wrestling match. They don't go like Olympic. I mean, and I'm not suggesting a down and out like real wrestling match, but you incorporate some of that and show. Oh,
Should've
wait,
been-
man, these guys are actually.
Should have been 60% mat wrestling.
Yep.
At least.
But no, Kurt Angle was too slow. He couldn't keep up with Chad Gable.
He was gassed 2 minutes in.
It looked bad,
Have you
and
ever been 47 years old?
soon.
It
I
ain't
was gonna
easy,
say that's
brother.
why he's retiring.
Do what, Rez?
I said that's why he's retiring.
Yeah, but I think.
He can't go anymore.
But it was clearly something the people got excited about. Like, people were like, ooh, we didn't know we wanted to see this, but now we're going to get to see this.
We're about to see a technician versus technician in catch wrestling. It could be just amazing.
Yeah.
And never stand up on their feet.
and then what happens? Chad Gable loses. Back to Bobby Roode. Goodbye, Chad Gable. Like, that was his chance to be made, and they missed it. That's my comp.
Fair enough. That's a
I
good one.
feel like that him going to 205 Live is the only thing that's going to save Chad Gable.
I hate it though because I feel like he has so much potential. I know you
He
can't.
does, but he's so small.
So
he
what?
is
Shawn Michaels
so
was small.
tiny.
Seth Rollins is small. Rey
No,
Mysterio's small.
They're not 5'8".
Eddie Guerrero's small.
Rey Mysterio is, but he's not Rey Mysterio.
Son's not.
Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, they were small.
They weren't 5'8".
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles is small. It's
He's
a new
not
age.
5'8".
man.
Yeah, he is. I'm 5'9". I got an inch on him. I've showed you a picture of he and I standing side by side.
Hey, hold on.
He's a 100% 5'8".
We got another caller coming in. Calling from Logan, West Virginia.
Woohoo!
Hello, Logan, West Virginia. You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
Hey, this is Don from Gilbert, West Virginia.
Oh, from Gilbert. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up, pal?
Right.
As far as Kofi Kingston goes, if they would turn him heel and he actually embraced it, he could be a top guy.
That's a good point. I don't think I've ever seen a heel Kofi Kingston,
I don't
have
think
we?
he's ever been.
He's never been a
always
heel.
been the boom and.
You know, they said this last night that he's never been a heel, but the New Day, when the New Day was first happened, they were heels.
That didn't last long.
But it was a comedic heel. It wasn't a full-blown hatred heel.
I don't know if you remember or not. We talked about it here on the show a couple of weeks ago, but there was a moment back when Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston were a few years ago. Kofi destroyed Randy Orton's or he tried to destroy the little race car. I like that. I like that killer instinct in him. But you seen it that one program, and that was it. You never seen it again.
I tell you, in these political times, hey, DJ, answer me this: what do you think about like the formation? If you like took the New Day and turned them, got rid of the unicorns and the rainbows and all of that, and like formed a new nation of domination.
It could be done, but like you said, in the political environment, I think it would be.
It'd be really hard to do, but I'd love to see it. Myself personally, I'd love to see a modern black militant type. And I think Kofi and Big E, I think they could be great leaders.
But you'd need a fourth. You need one more guy in that. Who would that be?
Well, talk about a guy.
R-Truth, yeah. Brian just said R-Truth. That'd be a good one.
R-Truth.
R-Truth,
I
and give
agree.
him the truth gimmick that he had in
TNA.
Yeah.
Or I got one even better for you. How about we bring up the Pope and get him back in
D'Angelo
There's all
Dinero,
kinds
yeah.
of guys. There's all kinds of guys
Well, originally that's what the group was supposed to be. That's what Vince wanted. But the problem is the way they set them up in this PG era that we have now. They couldn't get to where they needed to be because of it. They had too many constraints.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, before we let you go, Dog, we're about to move on to our pros. Do you have a pro from the wrestling world this week, my friend?
I like the way that they're doing the Ronda Rousey angle right now.
Oh, okay.
Turning her heel.
Okay, I like that. We'll hang up now and keep it rambling, brother. Appreciate you
All
calling,
right.
man. Ramble
I'll
on.
see you soon, buddy. Take care, man.
One thing, real quick.
What's up?
Hey, Steve,
Yeah.
I've got something coming in that I'm going to have to come up and show you. It's coming in the mail probably Saturday, a autographed minor blue Ric Flair robe.
Oh,
Nice. Nice.
$105.
Wow.
We'll have to get you on the Ramble to showcase that thing for us, old buddy.
Yeah,
Send it.
hey, guys, anytime I'd love to be on this show. I can talk it all day.
Hey, cool, brother. We'll talk soon,
we
man.
go way back. Hey, take care, Don. I'll see you soon, buddy.
All right, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, I'm going to play off of what Don was saying because that is actually my pro of the week as well, and that's the whole Ronda Rousey thing. This is how they should have booked her when she first come in. She was,
Agreed.
How do I say it delicately? She was
Bubblegum.
She was a bitch. That's the best I can do. Sorry. In UFC, she wouldn't shake people's hands when she was fighting them. She was better than everybody else and God's gift to everybody. And then she comes to WWE, and all of a sudden she's bubblegum and, hey guys, I'm here. We're friends. Let's shake hands and hug. And now you getting this killer instinct, Ronda Rousey, that should have been there from the get go. I feel so bad for poor
Dana Brooke.
2 weeks in a row. Oh man,
2 weeks in a row, Dana Brooke has been beaten like a rented mule, as
like
good
what
old
Josh said,
AR
government
says.
mule.
So what do you think about Travis Brown?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a I didn't see it coming. I ain't gonna
Last
lie to
year
you.
at the Royal Rumble, he was seated just a few seats over from me, and when she came out, you know, he greeted her and hugged her and all of that stuff, and I didn't know who he was.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big man.
So does anybody else want to piggyback off of me and Don there? 'Cause you guys got your own havings to be halved.
I'm going to put over my boy Jim Cornette. I think it's great that he's announcing Major League Wrestling.
Absolutely.
I am excited that he's back with a promotion. Now, he keeps saying, you know, he's got a bunch of commitments this year, and he keeps saying that he's not going to step on those. Midnight Express 35th reunion, but, man, that company will benefit from Jim Cornette's genius.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to being up there, the MLW show right before WrestleMania.
So that's going to be your pro, Jim Cornette, back in the thick of things.
Cornette back in the thick of things, and he keeps saying he's not going to get fully back and
I'll
engaged.
tell you what,
He's just like we are. I mean, it's in his blood. I don't think podcasts and talking to Bruce Pritchard every once in a while about what's going on, or his dalliance with what's her name's the Revival. I don't think that's enough for Jim. I
Brian
really
got
don't.
me. Brian got me because whenever we started this podcast here last year sometime, my plan was to do the podcast, and that was it. Well, next thing I know, I had some guys up north, Real Shit Wrestling, wanting to come down this way and do some wrestling. So I was like, okay, we'll see what we can do. Then I got talking to Brian, and he's like, well, I got a ring. And I was like, oh, yeah? Let's do some shows, man.
There you go.
I put my toe in. Next thing you know, I'm trying to swim.
That's the way. That's the way.
That's
it
the
goes.
wrestling business.
Yeah, that's the wrestling business. So.
All right.
Rich Quick.
All right. Now, my pro of the week, it was very hard to find one, so I had to go outside of WWE. All right?
Fair enough.
And it was, so I went outside WWE. My pro of the week is, because I'm very proud of a young man. He's a friend. You have seen him around here in the local circuit, if you will, if you went to SCW shows or WVCW shows, I believe, or Innovate Wrestling in Tennessee.
No, I never worked there.
You know what I'm going to say.
I never worked there. Sorry.
Friend, student of Ricky Morton, Bullet Club member, the crown jewel, Chase Owens, is getting his shot this weekend at the New Japan Pro Wrestling United States Championship title.
Yeah.
Like against Juice Robinson. That is a big deal, people. That's a very, very big deal.
whom he has already beaten.
Yes.
This is a big deal. Huge deal.
Like, I know he's not a local boy, but I feel like he is.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you can feel
He's
that.
close. He's
Yeah.
close enough.
One of ours.
he's close enough. So we'll claim him. So, yeah. Thoughts on that?
I was super excited about it. The new Chase Owens shirt that just has the diamond in the middle that says tournament breaker, bracket breaker, whatever it is. It's great.
Tell you what, Chase Owens ain't the only one that's got a pretty cool shirt. That's a pretty cool shirt you got on
Right,
yourself
you
there,
know.
Derek.
A little Edge and Christian
Vader in the
podcast of
phone booth down
awesomeness,
there with Hot Rod.
and the Brain and Eddie. Yeah,
You trying to rocket strap the show?
that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't seen the brand new Chase Owens shirt that's got him doing the package pile driver?
Yeah.
It says fatality across the top. That's a really cool shirt.
All right. What's next, John?
Derek.
Oh,
My pro of the week.
He has
also-
notes, by the way.
Yeah, I have notes. Like, I take notes every week for the show because the brain doesn't always work. And sometimes, names are hard to pronounce when you don't just watch WWE TV. So I gotta put them down.
Well, just tell it to JR. He can pronounce Marty Scurll.
Marshall. So my pro of the week also does not come from WWE TV because I believe in content. John, you got to watch more than just what Vince puts on TV. There's great wrestling out there. All you got to do is look for it. It's
I
not
also
that hard to find.
A 50-hour week job. I got to raise 4 kids. Let's see what else I got to do.
Get rid of a couple of them.
comes the man who
I've met him.
says the man who hadn't even been able to come here to be with us for the last
Right.
2 to 3
Yeah,
weeks.
it's
Going to lecture us about how we need to
Don't
be
worry about all
watching
that. You come over and
Look,
hang out with us.
when I'm working, 40, 50-hour weeks and 60-hour weeks, that hour lunch break, you know what I do? I watch wrestling.
I keep hoping that Rich Quick's going to rocket strap us up, and we're going to figure out how to get a payday from this somehow.
Well, I need to payday first. You don't pay me anything. You keep saying you're going to pay me. I can't. You can't even put me in the intro. Why would I do anything to help you?
Some
All right,
things
we've gone
just
sideways.
never
All right,
change.
go ahead, Derek.
All right, so mine comes from the AAA promotion. Randy Reyes was an event they had on the 16th, so this past weekend. It was a fantastic event. You'll see a lot of names you know, a lot of names you don't. Like Jeff Jarrett was there. The Lucha Brothers were there, and that's the match I want to talk about. So the Lucha Brothers, they're the tag team champions in Mexico in the AAA promotion.
And they are.
They are?
They were. So what happened is, they were the challengers. Wrestling lost Marcianos, Texagon Jr. and his partner that I can't ever pronounce his name, but I know Texagon Jr. So, John Covey-Cole, I'm sorry that wrestling bores you, but it excites me, so give it time, okay? So they're facing the Lucha Brothers. There's a great match. Lucha Brothers win. They're a 5-time tag team champions in AAA promotion in Mexico now. So here comes Conan talking his junk, and then all of a sudden, it's time for a super kick party.
Conan's still doing things?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's because you don't watch wrestling. So here's Conan, and then boom,
He's still
He's not wrong.
all of a sudden, here comes the Young Bucks. So now we've got the Young Bucks faced
On
up against
AAA.
on AAA,
All right.
face to face with the Lucha Brothers, which is going to be a match in Las Vegas at Double or Nothing.
I really like that tag team.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, both tag teams, they're super good. There's very few flaws amongst either one of
Isn't
them.
that who they? Brian, you told me to tune in to the AEW event for Double or Nothing. Wasn't that who they had heat with?
Yes,
at the AEW
So that's who they and they've been showing up at indie shows all
Right.
over the country, not even
That's
announced
awesome.
or
That's
anything.
awesome.
Yeah, they're giving back to where they come up from.
That's awesome.
So the Bucks show
You're
up.
talking about that T-shirt company, right? That T-shirt company that promotes the Young Bucks.
Anyway,
What's it called? AEW.
yeah, those guys.
T-shirt
They got a T-shirt company, and and they say they're going to have matches, but then they give them away for free at other people's events like AAA. Yeah, I heard about that.
Content, man, doesn't matter where you get it. You're a fan, enjoy it. They're giving it to you for free.
Dude, I 100% agree. That's an awesome match, and that's a great. I'm just thinking about it in the terms of somebody who would have a company.
But
and
listen,
it's supposed to be promoting a tag team.
you don't know the millennials. They want everything for free. They don't. That's all they want is free stuff.
I know a guy named Chance Lazar.
I'm not that guy. I might be a millennial by this much, but I'm not in that group whatsoever. Not even a little bit.
Come on.
What I'm saying is, why would you give it away for free? If you're AEW, and you know what it comes down to is if you got people that are playing with a man's money who have no idea what they're doing.
So if you let me finish my pro, then we'll get there. So here's the Lucha Brothers, the newly crowned AAA Tag Team Champions, and here's the Bucks. Conan makes a match, so they have a match that night. And now the Bucks are your new AAA Tag Team Champions, which is my pro. But now they're reaching a whole new audience that AEW might not have been, that will tune in and watch that match to see if the Lucha Brothers can regain the tag team titles from the Bucks at Double or Nothing.
Oh, is the AAA titles going to be on the line at Double or Nothing?
Hasn't been announced yet, but why wouldn't it be?
Well, because they're trying to have a wrestling company and not just a T-shirt company. Why would they need somebody else's belts? It just, none of that makes sense to me. Like,
well, because they don't have the luxury yet of having a television show. Like, so their only form of marketing is, yes, their T-shirts, but also YouTube and going out amongst the people. So I think that is, they're trying to build a groundswell of we're not like Vince. We are a company of the people.
We're not like Vince. We're a T-shirt company.
Yeah, and they're damn good ones.
Yeah, awesome T-shirts. I've bought a couple. I'm not going to say I haven't. So
did you see that Billy Gunn T-shirt? I got 2 new words for you. All Elite.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I laughed out loud at that shirt.
Brian, have you already given us your pro? I can't remember.
No,
I think you did. Go ahead and throw it out there, bro.
It was really hard to even have one.
I'll say that, bro.
I would say that my pro would be the actual, and I know that you didn't like the gauntlet match, and normally I don't like the gauntlet match, the matches, period. I think they do take up way too much time. But when it comes to actual wrestling, the gauntlet match was the best we got this week. So even though it's a piss poor pro, my piss poor pro is the gauntlet match.
I want story. I don't care so much about the wrestling. I want story.
I understand.
Okay, now, I had thought about this, and tell me your opinion. What I would have done is, one thing I loved about it was, when it started, okay, New Day was watching it to monitor. Okay, cool. And then every time they cut back, there was more people. What I thought was going to happen was, after Kofi wins, the locker room, every baby face in the building comes out, lifts him on their shoulders. Yay, yay, Kofi did it. Out comes Vince, and you have to beat Kevin Owens. Because if it's not Kofi, Kevin Owens is going to be like, I don't know. I feel like they're burying Kevin Owens because they're not. He's kind of an in-betweener. So I thought, well, hell, just turn him. Just flat out turn him, and then go from there.
Let's talk about a couple things in the wrestling news, guys. That would be interesting. But I'm with you without going into it too much. This whole comeback of Kevin Owens is it's not good. And I love Kevin Owens. He's probably my favorite guys, but it's not.
There was a lot of rambling to be done right there, but we can move on.
Hey, go ahead and ramble. Go ahead and ramble for a minute. We've already been here now. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, it all goes along with the whole throwing it all together at the last minute thing. You have nothing for Kevin Owens.
Real quick, Brian, before you continue, I figured out what we're going to do. Since you guys love rambling so much, what I'm going to have to do is we're going to have to start pre-recording this show, and I'll just cut out all the bullshit.
It's called the Ramble.
Hey, Derek, that means John will never sing again. John will never sing on this show again because he'll cut it out.
Yeah, I'll cut out the singing.
It'll just be John singing.
Yeah, it'll just be him singing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd book it.
All right, anyway, weekly news. Let's go.
Now, go ahead and finish your thought, man. I'll just mess with you, bro.
My thought was just the fact that it's all thrown together, and that sucks. It sucks that everything's thrown together, and it sucks that the story that the one story that they that they are trying to tell, which is the Kofi Kingston story. The one story they're trying to tell is obvious that we're going to get Kofi at WrestleMania simply because who the hell else will we get? I mean, we haven't. They done
announced AJ Styles and Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and see, that's how much the U.S. title means. I can't even think of who the champ is right off the top of my head.
Samoa Joe.
See, that's bad too, because Samoa Joe's great.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What do you think about Rey Mysterio's big old boy he got with him?
Big old boy. That's Rey's boy. That's old Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
He the pappy.
He don't belong to Rey Mysterio any more than I do.
Yeah.
Can we mention one thing about Rey Mysterio
they won't do a 23
that we
and me.
forgot to mention last week?
What's that?
Last week we forgot to mention his terrible outfit. What was up with that skin-colored outfit with the thong? That was so weird.
Well, like
that was almost my con last week. That was almost.
It should have been my con.
I
forgot about it.
It looked like Boba Fett did something bad in Return of the Jedi before he went into the monster.
Well, Corey Graves even said it looks like he's tanning his cheeks. Like so.
I don't understand.
Mel was
why
money. Did you know that?
That was the worst outfit I think anyone's ever wore ever.
We forgot about it.
Didn't even mention it.
Well, I don't think Resner's judging. I know Rez well enough to know he's not judging the man. I'm just saying. I think Rez said it was a bad outfit.
But
actually, really, I'm a pretty judgmental person. But still,
thanks, Steve. He appreciates it.
Yeah. Wait till we're all fair. Quick point of order. Rey Mysterio, a couple days ago, or maybe even today, filed trademark for Prince Mysterio.
See that?
Because Rey means king, so the king of mystery, his son would logically be the prince if Rey is the king. So Prince Mysterio, I believe, was filed by Rey.
Speaking of trademarks
will he
being
wear a
filed,
raspberry beret?
Speaking of trademarks being filed this week, reports say that Cody Rhodes filed for trademarks for Battle Bowl, Bunkhouse Stampede, and Bash the Beach, amongst some others.
He also doesn't own Bash at the Beach. He's stupid.
Right.
He also filed for trademarks for the Prince of Wrestling.
Oh, all right.
Which is interesting that Rey Mysterio and Cody Rhodes were both at the trademark office asking for Prince or something.
Prince IK, and I beat him to it.
I just hope that Rey wore that outfit to the trademark office.
Yeah. No.
Was in the thong and the.
But yeah,
he needs to trademark the grandson of a plumber.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do. That's exactly what he needs to do. I don't know if you know this or not, but he is the second most recognizable
professional athlete in the world.
I seen this. I thought this was kind of entertaining. The fans voted WWE the worst promotion of 2018 in the Wrestling Observer. 612 votes for WWE. The next closest promotion was AAA with 156 votes.
Not exactly a scientific.
I know. I was like, wow. I think it's more of an indictment on the Wrestling Observers.
Of us could get 700 wrestling fans.
Think about this, though.
Right?
The Wrestling Observer, which is Dave Meltzer, correct?
Right. Yeah. That's Meltzer.
He is known for crapping on the WWE. Yeah. So, of course, his cronies are like, yeah, WWE sucks.
Let me guess, New Japan?
I don't know what number one was. I didn't even look. That's some
crack journalism there, Covey Cole.
Hey, sorry. I suck at what I do. This is kind of cool. 350 Days, the documentary is coming out to iTunes on April 2nd for $12.99. I don't know if you guys heard about that. That's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see that one. Dolph Ziggler said that he is currently working under somewhat of a handshake agreement and has been for the last 2 years. Said that we will know more in the coming months where his future lies. So take that for what you will. Let's see. It was reported that Vince. Here you go. This is not a shocker if you guys have been paying attention. It was reported that Vince McMahon is not a fan of EC3. Go figure.
Who knew? He wasn't a fan of him when he was Derek Bateman either.
I still like Brian's idea. Bring Dixie Carter in. I mean, that's gold.
Yeah.
That's the way to get him over, man. That's the way to get him over with everybody.
I love invasion angles. Have EC3 and Samoa Joe and a bunch of others do a TNA invasion of WWE. I love invasion angles.
Is that a segue? Does a TNA invasion angle segue to any other news you have?
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
He has no
See, a
clue.
segue means it's a thing that...
Ain't that something that people ride on?
Yeah.
Thought so.
Yes, nailed it. Did somebody from TNA get signed this week?
Yep, sure did.
Okay.
But it's not on my list here, so why don't you go ahead and tell who it is, Rich?
DJ Z
Don't know who it is.
will be headed to the Performance Center.
You boys from Morgantown. He went to WVU. Zima Ion, and you don't know him? Shame on you for being a Mountaineer Rambler.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Even I knew that. I'm a Marshall fan.
Now I seen where
It was about
Robbie
a
E's
year ago.
going.
He signed with
No,
Impact, right?
Robert Strauss is going. I seen that,
Yeah, well, we're not talking about Robbie E.
I don't know
We're
that
talking
guy.
about DJ Z.
and he's from Morgantown.
He lived just outside of Morgantown, right on the West Virginia, Pittsburgh, or Pennsylvania border
line.
line. And then
Not to mention, he's awesome.
he's awesome.
Absolutely awesome.
He'd been in TNA for long. Zima Ion.
Okay, I know him.
There we go.
Okay.
So you knew about him. You just
He was the
didn't
real
keep with
famous
him.
beer back in the 90s. The Zima.
Jesus, Lord
Gosh,
help
I never
us.
said anything.
What else you got there, John?
Nothing. Y'all buried me now. Adam Rose has announced he's retiring from
I
professional
hope that.
wrestling.
Hang on, just a second. I hope that Dr. Brett Eckley, the dentist, is watching tonight because we just dropped a Zima in the middle of a show about wrestling, and Brett Eckley's the only human being alive that I even still know.
He's a
that
Zima
cares.
kinda guy?
He's a Zima kind of guy, Brett. I love you if you're watching, buddy.
So everybody in Beckley,
Everybody in
bring
Beckley-
cases of Zima to Eckley's dental
Beckley
office.
Orthodontics on Harper Road. Just drop him off. Brett will be appreciative. Melanie, maybe not so much. but
Adam
Brett
Rose
will.
is announced that he has announced he is retiring from professional wrestling. He turns 40 in July. Sure, why not go try something else, bud? If that's what you want to do.
That's a shame because
he's good.
Leo Kruger was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
It was, and I'm sad that never got
That should have been his transition to the main roster, not Adam Rose.
correct.
I wonder how he feels about this Adam Rose 2.0 with the green dreadlocks running around.
I don't think he cares.
He
I think he's probably happy that it's not him.
Yeah, probably.
So
And last but not least, it's being rumored that there's going to be at least 17 WrestleMania matches this year.
I believe it.
That's great.
Get my
It's supposed to
money's
be.
worth.
They said it's going to be the longest pay-per-view of all time.
Oh my goodness.
This may
And
be
last year it was like
Real
6 or 7
longest.
hours. So
Longest WrestleMania of all time, and there wasn't a lick of thought that went into it whatsoever.
No.
They're just like, throw a bunch of spaghetti against the wall. Let's hope it all sticks.
correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this is your 35th anniversary of the big show.
Right?
We should be more hype about this. I feel like I'm not just being a fickle wrestling fan right now. I feel like that this is
you should be more hyped. But the reason that
What
you're
it
not is the two biggest storylines that lead into WrestleMania, or at least the one, but now there's two that should lead into WrestleMania every year now, have been squashed, and it's your Royal Rumble winners. No one cares because they're not doing anything with them. One, because you took one completely out of the equation, and two, your champion's never around to build any story with.
It's hard to build a story when coming straight out of Royal Rumble. You know that if Rollins wins the Royal Rumble, he's going to face Lesnar, and you can't build any kind of program with them. You can't do any non-title matches. You can't do any kind of elimination chamber, anything. Lesnar doesn't have any kind of stable, so you can't even have the winner of the Royal Rumble battling with the stable.
Right.
Trying to soften up the face. None of that kind of stuff.
Can you imagine what kind of world we'd be living in right now if Seth Rollins would have won the Royal Rumble?
in a world.
And AJ Styles would have hung on to the title, and we could push the dream match between Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship, and then we would have pushed Bobby Lashley as a face to take on Brock Lesnar, and we would be sitting on two incredible heavyweight title matches right now.
I'd just like to hear Paul Heyman and Leo Rush argue. But you're exactly right, and the same stuff that Randy Orton did to jab at AJ Styles for all of his years in the Indies or TNA, you could have had Rollins. Rollins could pull that off just as easy as Randy Orton.
Tim
did.
Krall sitting on the head here. He says they had great stories that could have been built well if you didn't have the Fastlane pay-per-view. And I think they could have did it around Fastlane, but
You know what
they
you
could
could have
have.
done with Fastlane? You could make Fastlane WrestleMania Junior. All the guys and gals that aren't getting on TV or aren't even going to have a WrestleMania match, you've got to have an Andre the Giant Battle Royal now in order to get everybody on the roster just at.
Which is obvious that Braun Strowman's going to win that, so why even have it? You know what? I'm with Tim Cross. You should have just if you don't have the mental capacity to come up with a story for Wrestle Freaking Mania in the time allotted, then eliminate Fastlane. Give yourself more time. Give yourself more build.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying, treat it as a WrestleMania Junior. Let some folks get out there and wrestle some matches on a night, on a pay-per-view that's building up. They may not get out there on WrestleMania night, but let Apollo
sorry,
Crews.
guys, we don't all get a trophy, right?
Well, see that, but see that's the thing. That should be WrestleMania is the guys with the trophies, and I preach it week after week after week. If you don't have a belt or you're not a number one contender for that belt, you don't belong on the big show.
I agree.
Hey, Brian, Jeff Becker says that you look like Zordon up above us there.
I am Zordon.
Well, like the story that they're pushing the hardest, which is the Kofi Daniel Bryan thing, it's not even going to main event.
Well, it shouldn't. Seth Rollins should be the main event.
For some
No,
crazy-
Charlotte, Ronda, and Becky will be main event.
Yeah,
Because
that's
as
what's
much as I
gonna
hate
happen.
that,
Oh,
that's
well,
the hottest angle right now.
Well, see, and here's the thing. If that happens, I'm still okay with it because Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble. The winner of the Royal Rumble should main event WrestleMania.
Yep.
And
Period.
I heard a lot of people fussing about
Period.
Charlotte being in there, but
Somebody's got to take the
Charlotte's
loss.
in there so Ronda doesn't take a
no,
loss.
I mean, people were fussing saying that she has no business being there. But if Becky wouldn't have been in the match where she wasn't supposed to, Charlotte would have been the winner because she was the last one in the ring. But
If Charlotte wasn't in there, then we would have Becky hobbling around even more. Nobody, who the hell wants to see Becky Lynch hobble in the main event at WrestleMania?
I agree. She needs to be coming in strong. Shawn Michaels I think you can get by with that, Rez, and let me tell you. Everybody knew in 98 that Shawn Michaels was hurt. Everybody knew he was going to drop the belt to Stone Cold, but they worked that angle perfect where you had Tyson as a DX member and a special ref, and you knew that Michaels was hurt. I think that's fine when you've got a hurt heel champion, but I don't think that you can have an up-and-coming face who's hurt like Becky Lynch. I think your point's well taken.
Daniel Bryan was.
It got on my nerves when it was Seth Rollins. When Seth Rollins...
hey, real quick, Tim Krause says she's done limping. She's stopped on the house show. Good job.
Yeah, the limping's over, but to talk about it, Daniel Bryan was injured at WrestleMania 30. He was in a sling when he went out to wrestle his first match. I mean, and he still won at WrestleMania.
Was it a working sling?
No, he was truly injured.
I got so mad at this wrestling news site I see that I follow. I think it was yesterday. They said something about. That was last week when the WWE fined Ronda Rousey. They put this big article out, and I'm like, "Who are you guys trying to work here? Wait a minute." It's that other direction.
They're trying to work the casual fan that's
I guess.
tuning in.
But they're trying to rebuild Becky Lynch in that way. They're thinking, here's a baby face that's not only an uphill battle against her opponent, but she's fighting against everything she can, including an injury, and is going to try to overcome. And for some people, they're drawn into that.
They already did that. They already did that with Seth Rollins for a freaking year. And it literally killed Seth Rollins for me. Seeing Seth Rollins limp for a freaking year, it killed the whole character for me. I don't even like, and I really like Seth Rollins. I was always a big Seth Rollins fan. Watching him limp for a year ruined it for me. I don't give a shit about him now, and he's headed for the title against Lesnar. But him limping for a year killed it for me.
So how many years have you watched wrestling, Brian?
31 years.
Then there's only 7 storylines in pro wrestling. It's the same ones. They just interchange people all the time. They always do this with somebody.
I mean,
no,
I disagree.
Honestly, this is a different. Now I.
There's only been 7 storylines while you've been alive.
7 storylines. Period. That's
They've only
it.
been
He's
7
got 12 under his belt.
7.
No,
Been
but
watching since
the
'81, pal.
the WWE is recycling storylines way too soon.
Yes.
Sort of like when we seen Shinsuke Nakamura do the gimmick of, hey, I'm all of a sudden a heel now and I hit people in the nuts. And then 3 weeks later, Daniel Bryan is all of a sudden a heel now and he hits people in the nuts. It's like, stop phoning it in, guys. Fire these writers. All of them.
No speak English.
That was awful. I don't know. We talk about all these politically incorrect angles, and seriously, the WWE is going to have an Asian world champion or U.S. title holder come out and talk about don't speak English. Vince McMahon should be ashamed of himself.
But he's not. He's proud of himself.
I know.
Speaking of people being hurt,
home
of people being hurt, I feel bad for Cesaro because he's had that tape on his shoulder for literally years.
Yeah.
And then he got legit hurt and had to start wearing a mouthpiece.
Oh, that was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let me talk a little bit about, we got some local independent wrestling coming up here on the 29th of March. Wow.
That's a good one.
Card.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Did you guys see where Chance Prophet is hurt? He's going to take some time off.
Yes.
That sucks.
Yes, but he is starting a wrestling school, so go check that out.
What company was that?
Pro Wrestling Conquest.
Show that again. Do you mind to bring that back up, John?
No, tell it.
I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Huffman from Boone County. He's a Boone County champion right now, and also he was mentioned a little earlier by Derek, but if you guys have not seen the Neon Ninja Facade, he is the real deal.
Yeah.
He wrestled for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at Gary's promotion, ASW, a couple months ago. He is fantastic.
You can catch him on Ring of Honor TV right now.
Yeah, Ring of Honor TV right now. And so that's a stacked card.
That really is. I mean,
that is a stacked card.
My two favorite tag teams in independent wrestling right now are my favorite is the Gym Nasty Boys, followed closely by the Ducks.
Have you seen where White Mike's been talking smack to women about intergender matches? They've been beating the brakes off of him.
He's been doing that for a long time.
Hey, Rez, we watched that match out at Tommy Dreamer's Extreme in Virginia. Labor Day. The Gym Nasty Boys and the Ugly Ducklings. That was a good match.
Yeah.
That wasn't the Ugly Ducklings. That was actually what was the name of that tag team? It was the Gym Nasty Boys versus safety something.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right.
Then you got Real Shoot Wrestling on March 30th.
That's an
good
awesome
too.
Still in Neon Ninja's hair.
And then you can't forget about April 12th, Real Shoot Wrestling in Cleveland. They got Chavo Guerrero coming in, Brian Pillman Jr.
That's a nice show right there.
Yeah.
Derek, you still trying to go to that?
I'm still trying. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm still trying.
That's over 2 days.
Yeah. And then, of course, our buddies over in Logan County, Gary Dameron and All-Star Wrestling. I think you know those people, don't you, Steve?
I sure do.
You guys... Actually, I think that's your name on the flyer there. What the hell's that?
It is my name on the flyer.
But yeah, they got a lot of great stuff going on. You know more than I do, so go ahead and tell these guys a little bit.
Tracy Smothers versus Bobby Fulton in a Smoky Mountain Legends match. Got a grudge match going on, 8-man grudge match with SRO, the Mid-Atlantic Outlaws, Shane Storm and Rocky Rage taking
Ryan
on
Logan. I see Ryan Logan tried to shut us down last year. I don't know if y'all. Yeah, you know about that.
I didn't hire Brian Logan. I cut a good promo on him. Told him I'm afraid of him. Neither.
I see former NWA champion Jax Dane.
And then Crimson. You got Midnight Express going into the All-Star Wrestling Hall of Fame. You got Dave Gilpin going into the All-Star Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Having the second annual Woody Numbers
Battle Royal. And then you've also got Hustler Rip Rogers there at Jim Cornette's request to induct the Midnight Express into the Hall of Fame. And we're going to have a political presentation that night.
Is it going to be like 6 hours like the WWE?
It is not. No, the first Hillbilly Jim shows up. I'm taking Cornette tennis racket.
Maybe Mr. Teal show up and start talking about his mama.
Oh my goodness! No, not in Madison. Gary's not going to allow that stuff. That's a stacked show.
And then also on the 13th, on the other side of the world, you got Pro Wrestling Inception going on in Parkersburg. So if you guys are looking for wrestling up that way, you can get out and check the show out. I don't think I know any of these guys here, but I hear great things about these guys, so go check them out. And then on the 5th of April, you got Mega Pro Wrestling. Brad Cash versus Eric Darkstorm versus Chance Profit. It's going to be a great match, as always. This right here really surprised me because I never thought I would see this again. Those of you that are not local won't get this, but you got wrestling coming back to Oak Hill, West Virginia on the 22nd of this month.
That's a great show.
That's
a great show. Brian, you ought to come home because your boy, the franchise, is coming to Fayette County.
And let's see if Chase Stevens shows up this time.
Chris Hambrick. No guarantees. I'm stuck in Georgia traffic. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Chris Hambrick's there. I don't know if he's going to be wrestling or not because he's been doing it for a while, but that's pretty cool that he's going to be there.
That's a great show in Oak Hill, though. What is it?
It's
Friday.
On the 22nd. That's it sure is. It's this Friday.
Yeah, 2 days from now.
I might try to go to that one. Then
you know, Oak Hill Wrestling is just not Oak Hill Wrestling without Brian Logan.
Who told you? Did Brian tell you to say that?
Now, Brian is refereeing the Smoky Mountain Legends match between Tracy Smothers and Bobby Fulton.
Watch him. Is all I'm saying. Watch him. Dirty, I'm telling you.
Don't put him in a cage.
Pro Wrestling Training School by Chance Proffer. Proffer. I got this list because I got this tooth that just chipped the other day. I got into the dentist yet. I got Chance Proffer. But anyway, if you guys are looking to become a pro wrestler, there you go. Get a hold of those guys.
There's a lawyer I'm facing right now with a speech impediment, and y'all don't know how much it restrains me to not cut a promo on her speech impediment.
He's the second most recognizable lawyer.
Hey, I'm telling you, she makes Dusty Rhodes sound like Sir Laurence Olivier. I'm telling you. I think I'm suffering succotash.
And then last but not least, guys, this is what I got on the docket. April the 12th, you got West Virginia Championship Wrestling on a Friday, which I love how they done this because they're running on Friday. ASW is running on Saturday. And I think that's
a nice show, too, right there.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
Got a lot of great stuff going on.
Yeah.
Stuart Snodgrass, he's hilarious. I checked him out. If you guys haven't seen him, look him up. But, yeah, there's a lot of wrestling going on out there. And that's just local. I mean,
you know, there's two things on that list that are pretty spectacular. One being that you mentioned that there's going to be wrestling in Oak Hill. And, of course, there hasn't been wrestling in Oak Hill in a long time. Actually, the rumor was that wrestling was banned from Oak Hill. I remember at one time there was a show in Oak Hill that was scheduled, and it was pulled the day of because of the fact that they didn't want wrestling in Oak Hill. So it's awesome that wrestling is coming back to Oak Hill. But another thing you did not mention is that Chance Profit.
No, it's Profit.
Okay, well, Chance Profit is going to be in the ring with Eric Darkstorm. And that's something that if you're a local fan and you know anything about local wrestling, you never thought you were ever going to see again.
So is there some heat there that I didn't know about?
Those guys legitimately hate each other, from what I understand. And the fact that they are going to be in the same ring at the same time is something. I mean, out of everything you named, there was a lot of really cool stuff there. I would like to be a fly on the wall when Eric Darkstorm steps in the ring with Chance Profit.
Get your little happy ass in the plane and come on back home, and you got to be no fly on the wall. We can be a fly in the front row seat.
Well, you know, out of all the really cool stuff that was named, I didn't see anything cooler than Fort Myers, Florida. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you. Next week on the show, guys, you guys going to be back next week? Steve? If everything goes well?
It's always a game day decision for me, Cody.
Rich, quick.
If I am not in the opening of this show next week, I am not coming back ever again. At least for the year. If I'm not,
same thing.
Hand to God, next week will be my last week if I am not in that opening.
I'll see if I can get a hold of my editor and see if he can make some things happen. Derek, you going to be back next week? I only sang a couple times.
Aside from any universal hiccups.
So I can sing next week?
You cannot sing next week.
You know you got me, Covey Cole.
Anyway,
I got you.
Brian, are you going to be able to make it on time next week?
Yes, guaranteed.
Hey, if you can't, bro, no worries. I'm just busting you balls. But next week on the show, guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. This was Brian's idea. He actually had 10, but I dropped it down to 5 because I didn't know how many people was going to be in studio next week, so I didn't want to be here for an hour and a half talking about our topic. But next week's topic is, if you could pick 5 dream matches for WrestleMania, what would you book? That could be any wrestlers ever.
I've got 10,
ever.
and I've got 10 already, and I need to cut mine down.
Well, if you got to bring 10,
Wow,
bring 10.
so it's not active wrestlers, it's any wrestler ever from
any wrestler.
Wow.
Any wrestlers ever.
Well, that's hard.
And that's what I'm going to say now. The next week I'm going to get on the show and I'm going to tell you guys, well, you're supposed to be wrestlers that are wrestling now.
It's a given.
I thought you knew that.
It's a given that it was active wrestlers and not dead wrestlers.
No, I think it's going to be interesting. And actually, just now on the fly, I made a decision to make it any wrestler of all time because I think that's going to be more interesting.
I'm going to stick with mine.
You know what you said? When you just said any wrestler ever. I was talking about how I seen a meme on Facebook.
It's a meme. I seen you
meme.
It's a meme.
Meme. Whatever.
I know what I'm talking
I've
about.
Seen one.
Crawford.
I don't know if you guys if you guys believe in the whole string theory, different dimensions where different things happen.
You've been watching the Sliders again.
In a dimension where Chris Benoit didn't kill his family, Chris Benoit would be the perfect opponent for Kurt Angle in the retirement match. And I seen that on a meme, so
that would be. You're accurate.
Well, add it to the list, Resner.
Right.
So you got 10 already, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You have to drop it down some.
I've got one that I'm not dropping. And you all know it when I say it.
Is it Baron Corbin versus Kurt
It
Angle?
is not Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle for the Hot Topic Heavyweight
Hot Topic
Championship.
little pole match.
That's exactly.
I want to see
Baron Corbin.
I want to see Baron Corbin versus James Ellsworth for loser leaves the world. Like it's shipped
to kill
Mars.
Loser leaves the world. That's called murder, Brian. You can't book that.
Not if they voluntarily do it.
Like a real death match. Fight to the death.
Well, I was thinking more along the
Game
lines
of
stick
Thrones
one of them in a
style.
space shuttle and send them to Mars, but whatever.
Whatever. I had a lot of fun today, guys. I was anxious to find out how it was going to flow with all 5 of us. And as much as we tried, we still stepped on each other's toes some here today. But I still love you all, and I appreciate you guys coming in
You're
and
right.
stepping on toes with me. You know what I'm saying? We tried.
It's a ramble show, John.
Right.
That's
It
what
is.
we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to agree on everything because if we agreed on
I'm not
everything,
saying
we'd
that.
all be
He teases me
wrong.
about my clothing. I tease him about his age.
Him tease me about
Wait,
my
hold
singing.
on. I don't know that I ever teased you about your clothing. I think that
should.
started somewhere else. I probably should start.
Have you seen
Last 2 weeks you should.
I probably should start.
Yeah.
That's fair. I kind of gave you a shot about not knowing who Nigel McGuinness is.
Hey, real quick, Steve. Big Cliff said, "Is your match? Is it Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson?"
He said, "Who's Bryan Danielson?"
It is not. It is not
You know,
one of my
I have to
top
give you
5
an F.
matches.
I have to give you an F on your homework, Steve, since you didn't watch the Nigel McGuinness story.
Well, maybe if you'd shown up on time,
There
then
you go.
you could grade my homework.
Way to divert there. Way to divert.
Like how lawyers can do that.
Yeah, just flip
So-
it on.
That right back
So
on him.
you're closing the show, but you didn't talk about anything outside of WWE, John. What about the anniversary show?
I didn't watch it.
Why haven't you watched the Ring of Honor anniversary show?
Well, because I was busy, Derek. Okay?
There's
I was busy.
a great match that happens in that show.
what is it?
Jay Lethal and Matt Taven. Great
Yeah,
match.
Maven from Tough Enough.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's who I hope gets taken is Matt Taven. Matt Taven needs to be in NXT right now before he gets too old to wrestle.
So
Oh, I done crack myself up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Did the Briscoe brothers do well? I love
the Briscoe brothers versus Brody King and PCO.
I love the Briscoe.
Great match,
Yeah,
but because
John, what was his name in WWE? I had the pirate gimmick, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But because you love the Briscoes, you're not going to love the outcome. But I'm a Villain Enterprises kind of guy, so I love the outcome, and it's exciting. And now, G1 Supercard, April 6th.
That's at Madison Square Garden.
MSG. There's a triple threat ladder match
You'd be hanging out.
with Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, and Marty Scurll.
Hey, do me a favor. See if you can
And
get
they
Maven's
moved
autograph.
NXT for that.
On Virginia Tech
We
football
didn't
jersey.
talk about that. The WWE literally moved NXT TakeOver to Friday night because of the G1.
Yeah. Well, originally they thought the G1 was going to include all the elite guys, but now I don't know if it will or not because they're not
I don't think
doing
it is.
anything else with
I know,
Ring of Honor.
Already said he's not gonna
I'm
be
sure
anywhere
it
near
will
there.
include all the all elite guys. I mean, why wouldn't it? It's,
Now, if
AEW
you're
is
all
just a
theory,
t-shirt
though,
company.
Brian, tell me if your all's theory is correct.
They should be there.
That this is grassroots marketing, then those all elite guys are going to surprise us all, and I'm going to see Cody Rhodes backstage at
should.
G1.
You may.
Hey, so
Because
this is a spoiler if you see him right there.
because they sold out Madison Square Garden on the idea that Cody, the Bucks, Kenny, and all of them were going to be there.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's good business if they show up.
Yeah, I think it's good business too.
I don't know though. I think Brian touched on this there whenever it was first announced about All Elite Wrestling. I don't want them working with these other promotions. I want them to be
See,
their
as of
own
right now, there
unit.
is no All Elite Wrestling. It's a T-shirt company.
I know, but
As
come on.
Brian said.
And like Derek said, that show sold out under the pretense that Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega were going to be there.
Card subject to change.
Right.
Yes, but it doesn't have.
Large print giveth and the small print taketh away.
Yeah.
I like it.
So in order to keep up, a good relationship with all those fans that are now probably pissed because I just bought these tickets thinking I was going to see my favorite guys, and now they pull out. Why would?
So you're telling me the wrestlers are supposed to worry about what the fans think?
If you're trying to start a new business, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I just wanted to see
see,
the response to my question.
So for weeks and well, months now, I guess, the whole thing has been Marty's coming out and all his friends are dead because they're not there. But if they would all show up and Marty's friends are there to bring Marty into AEW, that's a great send-off.
Do you still watch Being the Elite?
Of course, John.
Is there been any kind of tease?
Not
there?
even a little bit.
Well, see, they teased us with Omega. They teased us with a bunch of stuff there. So I feel like if they were going to do something, they would have teased it by now.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, these shows that they've been doing surprises to, the Being the Elite doesn't air until after the show.
I was going to say, if there's not a Marty Scurll T-shirt, then he's probably not going to AEW.
Oh, he's going to AEW. He just can't yet because he's under contract with ROH. But he's
Brian
going.
wants to know if they have announced Jushin Thunder Liger's final opponent yet, Derek.
I don't think they have.
Yes, they have.
Did they?
It's Baron Corbin.
All right, guys, on that note, we're going to get out of here. Next week on the show, bring it with you 5
Wait,
dream
I got
matches.
one thing for you.
You always got one thing for me.
I got
We
one
finally
thing
get
that's
a
gonna
good
make-
close to the show,
None
and
of
you got
know
one more
this.
thing.
None of you know this, and
Oh.
none of our fans know this.
Spoiler
And I
alert.
just discovered this today, and I think that this is a really cool.
Brian, we don't care
Did
about the
you-
mole on your backside, okay?
Did you know that in Dayton, Ohio, there is now a wrestling-themed bar
No.
called Turnbuckles and Brews?
Nice.
Nice. That is nice.
Yep.
And it is the home of Rockstar Pro
I was going to
Wrestling.
say it's where
if you've ever
Rockstar
heard
come
of that.
from. Yeah. That's where
Yeah, it's the new home
where I
of Rockstar
found
Pro
Ron
Wrestling,
Mathis.
and it is a bar called Turnbuckles and Brews. You already knew that, Steve?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Ben
Yeah,
Cliff just
brand
totally
new
turned on
information.
us here on the Ramble, guys. He says, Derek Jones, you need to do an indie podcast.
I don't think he turned on us. I think he
turned on me?
He did.
I think he turned on you.
Yeah.
This is your show. We're just along for the ride.
Oh, that's us, Kimasabi.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, this Britt. You can't trust him.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'll just give him like 5 different independent cards, and he still wants to put Derek over it.
That was only a West Virginia indie.
He needs to get on a plane and come over and check it out. See Chance Crawford and Eric Darkstorm and a triple threat match with Brad Cash. It's going to be amazing.
You know, I said I had one thing I wanted to tell you. I've got one thing I want to show you too.
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa.
That's because you show up late. You think we need to run 10 minutes
What do
later.
you got there?
Look at
Look
that.
what I found. Look what I found.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That is a Montreal screw job shirt.
Brian,
Nice.
what size is that shirt, buddy?
It's a small. I bought it anyway. I just seen it and was like, wow. It is a
I
Montreal
bet Derek
screw
can fit
job
into it.
shirt advertising the match.
Wow. That's cool. That's good quality, too, it looks like.
Yeah.
Right on.
It's
nice.
a brand new shirt. Pretty incredible. I've never seen it before, and I now am the owner of it.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
buddy, you guys got any final thoughts before we get out of here? Anything y'all want to show us? Tell us?
No.
No, we better not.
I mean, I could still talk wrestling for a while, but
I could, too.
well, let's go, Chance Crawford.
Chance
Go,
will
Joey,
show
go.
up.
Chance is going to
Here
message
we
me
are.
and be like, what is this?
Right.
Sorry. Derek Jones, good to see you again. Rich Quick, I'm gonna try to have you in intro next week so we can keep you around for a little while.
I will not hold my breath.
I wouldn't either.
Took me
I'm gonna try.
weeks.
Steve New,
Weeks.
make sure you get Baron Corbin working at double on WrestleMania weekend.
That's right. That's right.
Brian Resner in Florida, guys. I'm John Kevin Cole. Until next week, ramble on, my friends.